Professor Wole Soyinka's comments on former President Olusegun Obasanjo's criticisms on President Buhari's government gets us talking tonight. We get some reactions from the presidency. And activities are revved up already as we enter into the last days of campaigns ahead of the September 19th governorship election in Edo State. We give you details of activities on the ground as we monitor the situation for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. We're reaching you from our Benin studio in Edo State, where we are monitoring for you the Saturday governorship election, which will go down in the history of Nigeria's election as perhaps the very first governorship election in the COVID-19 era. So welcome to the program, everyone. It's the 1 hour stretch of the show tonight, and I'll be driving you through some of the major political stories that you need to know. But first, before we dive into the matters of tonight, two major topics on our lips tonight that we'll be discussing. One is the criticisms against President Buhari that the nation is drifting under his watch, coming from Professor Wole Soyinka as against in the backdrop of what the former President Olusegun Obasanjo raised. We'll be getting reaction and whether or not assurances is the country drifting truly. Let's get some of your political roundup stories that you need to know now.
It is not about an institution.
The Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has gotten the approval of the Federal Executive Council to present a bill for the establishment of a new agency to be saddled with the responsibility of coordinating recovered stolen assets. He insists that this new agency will not make the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission redundant and says better coordination will encourage international cooperation to recover these assets.
That the issue of recovery of looted assets is an issue that has international dimension and colorations.
A group of protesters have staged a demonstration at the entrance of the National Assembly complex in Abuja, calling on the lawmakers to prevail on the executive arm of government to reverse the recent hike in electricity tariff and the pump price of petrol.
There have been hike in electricity tariff.
Numbering about a dozen, the protesters carried placards with inscriptions rejecting the new hike, calling for a pay cut for politicians instead.
It is inconceivable, it is illogical, and even demonic to increase fuel price, to increase electricity tariff at such a time when the people, when the masses are suffering.
National Executive Committee.
Finally, the national leadership of the All Progressives Congress APC has directed its chapter in Ekiti State to set in motion the process of suspending some big weights for flouting the instructions of the leadership of the party. Some of the affected members include a special advisor to the president, Mr. Babafemi Ojudu, and former House of Representatives member Oyetunde Ojo, amongst others. The APC leadership in the state says the present directive from the national leadership may have overtaken recent reconciliatory efforts put in place by the state arm to give some aggrieved members room to air their views.
With us. So let's get started, but let's tell you that perhaps we have entered into the mood for celebration of Nigeria's 60th independence anniversary. Today, President Muhammadu Buhari launched and unveiled the logo for Nigeria's 60th anniversary. The unveiling, which marks the beginning of festivities leading up to the Independence Day celebration on October the 1st, was done at today's Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. According to the president, 60 years of Nigeria's independence calls for great celebration, but those celebrations are to be low-key as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The logo was chosen by Nigerians after an internet challenge, and it reflects the most essential asset of the country, the Nigerian people. Well, then, let's begin our first round of conversation tonight on the criticism coming on President Buhari's performance and government initiatives. So, more prominent Nigerians are lending their voice to the ongoing controversy on whether or not Nigeria is drifting towards a failed state, with the latest comment coming from the Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka. Professor Soyinka, who seems to have picked a cue from the response of the presidency to comment linked to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, said that the confidence of Nigerians in President Buhari's government to keep the country united is waning. Professor Soyinka's statement reads in part, quote, "The nation is divided as never before, and this ripping division has taken place under the policies and conduct of none other than President Buhari. Does that claim belong in the realms of speculation?" Professor Soyinka says while he is no fan of former President Obasanjo, he agrees with him that Nigeria is teetering on the very edge of total collapse. Mr. Let's get some reactions on this one now. I have joining me from our Abuja studio, President Buhari's Special Advisor of Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, joins us from Abuja studio. Thank you indeed, Mr. Adesina, for coming tonight on the program. It's a very big criticism coming, isn't it, for the president and the government under his watch. And if you look at some of the things, it's just a 1 year into his second term. The comments and the criticism is that Nigeria is drifting towards a failed state. How does the president receive this message, and how does the president react to this kind of criticism?
Thank you. Good evening. In a country of about 200 million people, there's no way and no how everybody would think the same way and reason the same way and perceive and conceive things the same way. And woe betide the country that does not have critics, because they could be doing everything wrongly and there will be nobody to point out that, hey, you are going in the wrong direction. So critics have their uses. Criticism has its positive sides. But then, it's not every criticism that you should give you sleepless nights. When such criticism comes, you need to look at it. Isolate what you think is germane, isolate what you think is actionable, and the one that you think is in the realm of politics and is in the realm of preconceived notions. Of course, you have to discard. But there are some criticisms that you don't discard everything. You find what you think you can follow up on, what you think you can adjust, and you adjust.
Mr. Adesina, if you look at the criticism and from those who some of this is coming from, for example, we know that from the recent history, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has criticized the president, Muhammadu Buhari, and his government in the past years. But this time around, a lot of people have said, listen to the message and not the messenger. Is the president diffusing the messenger from the message and taking, perhaps, there's something to learn from what the former president has said? For all we know, that the former president has actually been in that same shoes before.
Yeah, but if you also look at the antecedents of President Obasanjo and the trajectory, you will see that there is no government he hasn't criticized. The only government he has not criticized is the Olusegun Obasanjo government. So, that kind of person has a right to air his opinion, and you also have a right to take it or not to take it. President Obasanjo has criticized every government since the Shehu Shagari government that succeeded him in 1979. And then look at what happened in 2018. He went as far as saying that the horse rider, alluding to the president, must now dismount from the horse, that he should not run in 2019. But President Buhari said, hey, what the heck? He ran and he won. So do you think somebody that had told him, don't run, and the man run, he will still be kindly disposed towards him? He would not. It is in that light that we must situate and see whatever former President Obasanjo says.
But, I mean, if you say that there is being a trend of former President Olusegun Obasanjo's criticism in past government, in this government, what about Professor Wole Soyinka, who, I mean, both men are not, they've never agreed on perhaps one thing, and they seem to have agreed on the fact that under President Buhari, the nation is drifting. What about Professor Wole Soyinka? If you do not agree, or you say, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has the right to criticize, are you listening also to Professor Wole Soyinka?
Like you said in your intro, you know Professor Soyinka even first issued a disclaimer about former President Obasanjo before he made his own comment. Before he agreed with him, he first issued a disclaimer about him. That says a lot about the former president. Now, Professor Soyinka, of course, is somebody we respect. You don't have them too many like that in a country, even on a continent. Professor Soyinka is an icon, is an avatar. We respect him, we listen to him, but then we don't take everything he says hook, line, and sinker. It doesn't happen. There is nobody that says something and everything he says you take hook, line, and sinker. He is an individual. He can make mistakes. He may reason from preconceived notions. And if you look at Professor Soyinka, you know that he had never been a pro-Buhari person. Right from when President Buhari was military head of state. You know, Professor Soyinka had always criticized him in the strongest of terms. And I recall that before the 2015 elections, when he softened a bit, he still came out to say that of the two main candidates in 2015, one was just like a shade better than the other. It was not as if he endorsed the president totally. Sometime in 2016 or 17, he came visiting at the villa. He still was very frank with the president. The president was also very frank with him. Professor Soyinka had always been like that and will always remain so. We will take whatever he says, we will look at it, the ones that need to be assimilated and ingested, it will be done. And the ones that we see as typical Professor Soyinka, a gadfly, a critic, who is always on the other side of government. Even the government in which he served as the head of the Federal Road Safety Commission, the Babangida regime, he still criticized that government. So if a man is in that mood, when he speaks, look at what he has said, assess it. The ones that you think are germane and well-founded, take. And the ones that you think come from his predisposition as a permanent critic of government, you know what to do with it.
Mr. Adesina, let's pick one after the other, perhaps, if we may analyze the issues that have been raised. For example, Professor Wole Soyinka raised a very disturbing issue. He said Nigeria is more divided than before under President Buhari. Is the president concerned about this sort of statement? Furthermore, when he says that Nigeria is tilting towards a total collapse, that is worrisome. Is it for the president?
Nigeria had always been divided. Always. Right from amalgamation in 1914, Nigeria had always been divided. Nigeria is an inconvenient amalgamation. But we have kept at it, we have worked at it, and I tell you, there is no time in the history of this country that the country was not divided. But then, we had kept at it, we were trying to make it work. As of 2015, when President Buhari came, Nigeria was terribly, terribly divided. divided along ethnic lines, divided along religious lines, divided along language, divided against political lines, divided hopelessly, terribly. And that is the division that President Buhari had been working at. But you see that a number of people, instead of letting harmony return to this country, thrive and luxuriate in widening the gulf between Nigerians. They play politics with everything. So if they say Nigeria is divided today, it is because Nigeria had always been divided. And all efforts to unite Nigeria and Nigerians have not worked. When Nigerians come to a decision point that we must live together, we can't wish anybody away, we can't wish any ethnicity away, we can't wish any religion away, then we will be working towards being a nation. Professor Soyinka delivered a lecture around 2010, 2011, when he said Nigeria was not a nation. That at best, Nigeria is a conglomeration of different ethnic nationalities. But in terms of the definition of a nation, he said Nigeria was not a nation. Now the question is, was President Buhari in power then, in that 2010 or 2011, when he delivered that lecture and said Nigeria was not a nation? So Nigeria had always been divided. The onus is on us all to make our country work. And those who continue to harp on division are part of the problem, because the harmony that we should arrive at as a country will continue to elude us.
Mr. Adesina, if you look at some of perhaps a very good way for us to wrap up the conversation about these criticisms and the state of the nation, because how those men have described the state of affairs in Nigeria is that Nigeria is gradually moving towards a failed state. But there is a reaction that came early enough from the presidency saying that former President Olusegun Obasanjo is a divider-in-chief and is jealous of President Buhari's achievement. For those who are political analysts will say, are those comments fair, considering that former President Olusegun Obasanjo raised the issue of the economy, and these criticisms are coming on the back, in the heels of fuel scarcity, the hike in fuel price and also the hike in electricity tariff. Is it fair to say that the former president is jealous of President Buhari's achievement and call him a divider-in-chief?
Well, sometime, was it this year or late last year, I read a comment attributed to the former president when he said that he had ruled Nigeria the longest, that he did 3 years of military rule, he did 8 years as a civilian president, that nobody else can achieve that status and that reputation. I think it was beneath the former president to have said that. Because what do you have in this life that you have not been given? There's nothing you have that you have not been given. All that we have is given us from above. If he ruled the country for 3 years as military and 8 years as civilian, is nothing to boast about. For the former president to have said, well, nobody will attain that status of ruling this country for 11 years. I think it was beneath his status. So the fact that President Buhari himself has done military, he ruled for 20 months, then he's doing 8 years, the former president may be feeling, somebody is coming close to me. I think he didn't need to say what he said in the first place. But then, in the history of the country, President Obasanjo has his place. That is enough. He will continue to have our respect. Don't forget in 2018, when he wrote that letter and he said President Buhari as a horse rider must now dismount, the president particularly told me, he said, Adesina, don't say a word. Don't say a word. Don't respond to him. He said,
Adesina, perhaps, let's conclude the conversation. But in 20 seconds, I would like you to, Mr. Adesina, just a moment. I'd like you to, in 20 seconds, to wrap up this conversation because we need to go on break. And I'd like you to respond to these worries by some of your supporters who have said maybe the president is losing the esteem of support that he has gotten in some years back because of the state of things. Is the president worried about this kind of comment and this kind of filler? In 20 seconds so that we can close, Mr. Additional.
Supported by statistics. If you look at the margin of victory in 2015 and compare it with the margin of victory in 2019, what you have said is not supported by statistics. The president won in 2019 by a wider margin. So that can only be conjecture. It's not supported by statistics.
Mr. Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Publicity. Thank you so much tonight for coming to react to some of these issues and give us some clarity and clarification. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Adesina, for coming tonight.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we will go deep into the Edo governorship race that has been revved up here on the ground. We are here for you to give you all the information. But again, politicians are talking tough, and they're looking forward. The permutations ahead of the Saturday election. Don't go anywhere. We'll have the politicians, the real players on the field, talk to us about the race and what is up for them. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on Channels Television Politics Today. We're live for you from our Benin studio right here where we're monitoring for you. The crew on the ground, well, we have a lot of plans for you right here on Channels Television as regard the kind of information that you need for this election. Let's get right into it. We're going into the issue about the race into the election. First and foremost, let me give you some updates. From today, it does look like the PDP candidate and governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, is getting more endorsement. And this time around, it's coming from the Igbo community in Edo State. And we saw some PDP leaders coming to give support to Godwin Obaseki and ahead of his re-election bid. Take a listen to some of the things that were said today by the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, and Godwin Obaseki ahead of Saturday.
As in Igbo, this country is going through a problem. All of you know this. This country is collapsing. Those that will make this country to stop collapsing, one of them is Godwin Obaseki. He has an idea of what governance is, and he's one of those who are committed to build a better Nigeria. One of those committed that we must leave for our children a future. We cannot leave them anarchy. We cannot leave them trouble. We cannot leave them problem. And you know me very well. I cannot come to tell you lies. I'm not one of those who come here 4 years to say what I said was politics. No. It's not politics. I'm telling you the truth now. I was governor, and you can go, whatever I say, go to Anambra, ask them whether this man is telling you.
When it comes to the issue of politics, Indigo is still, they just want to do their business. But you have come to see how bad politics affect your business. You were all here. We allow the people who shouldn't be in politics go into politics. And you see how they were harassing us. Every day they come to your shop, they come to your business, asking you to pay this, pay that. They are not government to. And so what you are seeing today in Edo, this election is essentially about that. That who owns government? Is it not us? Yes. But if we don't participate in how the government is determined, and we get the wrong people in there, we suffer for it. Yes.
All right, you heard them there. The PDP and their plans in the Igbo community of Edo State ahead of Saturday. But the APC too, they are not keeping quiet. They are also working. But today, there was a press conference addressed by the leader of the APC in the state and the former national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomhole, also former governor of Edo State, who was talking and reacting to the issues of violence and speaking to supporters of the APC ahead of Saturday. Take a listen to some of the things that Adams Oshiomhole, former governor of Edo State, had to say on the issue of a peaceful conduct of the exercise.
We have established, at least while I was a governor for 8 years, a tradition of one man, one vote. We spend a lot of time and energy and resources to promote that campaign. Because as you will all recall, before then, election in Edo State was for survival of the fittest. Under my stewardship as your governor, I persuaded all of us, and we all agreed, that we can make the vote count without violence. And so, beginning with my election in 2012, of which I am eternally grateful to the people of Edo State, as you will remember, I won in all the 18 local government areas, scoring a total vote of about 74.6% of the total vote cast. Nobody was shot, nobody was hospitalized. We celebrated it. In 2016, we worked hard as well. Again, I was the governor, created an enabling environment to ensure that what matters is the PVC and the ballot papers. And again, we had a peaceful election. Notwithstanding all the speculations and anxiety, I ask you to have faith that this Saturday, the 19th of September, will be another celebration of democracy, which enable the people to show that they and they alone can confer power on anyone they so favor, under the guidance of God, our Creator. So I ask you to resist any temptation, resist any inducement, resist any of those things that will change the narrative of Edo as a democratic state whose citizens are used to voting and ensuring that the vote counts.
There, former national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomhole, on the need for a peaceful conduct of the election. There are other things, non-partisan issues that have come up today. The police police DIG in charge of the operations for this election has been speaking about their readiness and the preparations for this election. They are assuring the voters that everything will go on without any violence or hitch. And also, INEC is also trying to get election materials for the election, and we understand that all is set for the distribution of the materials from the Central Bank of Nigeria in Benin City, and that will happen from tomorrow. But preparations were there. Our correspondent was on the ground earlier today to monitor that. So there are a lot of issues on this election, from the peace pact that we saw yesterday to some of the permutations on the minds of political analysts. Some of these analyses we'll give you tomorrow and give you the sense of the figures. What do you need to look at? The history of this election and what the gladiators are looking at grabbing in this election across the senatorial district. But tonight, we're looking at the chances. We're looking at the peace accord. We're looking at what has happened before and what will impact what will happen on Saturday. I have two gladiators in their own right in Edo State, from the APC and from the PDP. The man they call Riceman, a former governorship aspirant, a member of the PDP, Mr. Kenneth Imaswagbon. Thank you so much, Mr. Imaswagbon, for joining us tonight.
Glad to be here, sir.
And also I have a very experienced politician, a former member, a former lawmaker, Honorable Patrick Iyakale. Thank you so much for coming tonight on the program, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Neil. It's nice to be with you today.
So, gentlemen, interestingly, both of you are from the same senatorial district. It does look like your senatorial district is going to be another battleground this time around. But let's look at it on the issue of the peace accord, the intervention of the Oba of Benin, what we saw yesterday by the National Peace Committee, and what we are hearing on the ground. Do you think that that peace accord is going to work? Let me start with you.
Thank you, Sheun, again. Thank you so much. I must say thank you to the revered Oba. It's our Oba. We're proud of him. The timing was perfect. He spoke like the father that he is, and he read the Riot Act. And of course, General Abdul Salami Abubakar, thank you, General Abdul Salami. You're a true Nigerian. Thank you for caring. Thank you for sharing your thoughts of peace. The only way for the country to go, and I don't like to go on Saturday, is for us to be peaceful. There's no other alternative. Nothing but peace. I appeal to APC, though, that APC must let down their violent manner, their intimidation manner. They must know that Saturday is not about the godfathers. I listened to Oshomole.
When you say they are in, because, of course, there's a member of the APC here.
Yeah, he will reply.
No, I'm saying, I mean, you need to clarify when you say that
violence. Yeah, of course, we know APC. We know the threats now. We are aware, especially in my senatorial, that APC, they have circled around Isha, saying that they will slow down PDP victory by attacking us. But my question will be this. Since 1999, in the history of politics, we had governor 41 years ago from Esalam. So on Saturday, I expect no Esaman, plus my friend and brother Patrick Ikariali seated there. I don't expect him to vote for APC because what is at stake on Saturday for the Ishans will be the ESA agenda embedded in the victory of performing Obaseki, Governor Obaseki, who is sure to have what we call 4+4 Togba. Obaseki will be back because he has performed. The victory is going to come from Esa land. And I'm happy. Let me say quickly, thank you, Mr. President. And I must say especially thank you to the IG. I read in the papers that 31,000 Sheun police will be on duty. And I've been in Benin for the past 2 months now. I've seen in the past 3-4 days, I've seen DIG Leye police or the IG Adamu. For the first time, I think if they do well, if they don't compromise, if they are professional, if they are true Nigerians, if they defend the oath of their office, yes, we will have a free and fair election.
Let me allow Honorable Ikariali to come in. I mean, when he said that you heard the statement he made, but in the light of the peace accord and the National Peace Committee, what we saw the Oba of Benin, I'd like you to react to what he said about your party.
Thank you very much. Hallucination doesn't cost anything. Anybody can hallucinate. It's just like people living in a dream world. For the time we are, I would want to say that my friend and brother has just spoken from what you call midsummer night dream. I'm sure he must be dreaming in a world of his own to have told the world that he's sure that I will not vote for my party, APC, I will vote for his party. That's why I say hallucination. You are free to hallucinate. I believe he was just hallucinating and having a midsummer night dream while we're here. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And the point he has just made to the effect that, it's some people where we are from the same senatorial district, talking about this Nigeria he just mentioned, we have all agreed in this land that that is, to say the least, most unrealistic permutation, and even those who, like himself saying he does not believe in the concept of what he just said. Otherwise, he was supposed to be a gubernatorial candidate in this election. The premise on which two of them, himself and another gubernatorial candidate, as they were at that time, we are cajoling, trying to make a point that doesn't exist on the fact that some people will vote them because there are some people. But this is the game of politics. As we all know, the facts are there on the ground to show whether or not the some people are with them or not. As an APC member and as an ASA man, I can clearly say to you, without sense of authority, without fear of favor, without contradiction of any kind, that statement has no bearing, whether political or social gathering. The man he just talked about, we had a very clear opportunity for us to be able to say to the world that even what they were bragging with, trying to deceive the people, never exists anywhere. All through the campaign, the Governor Obaseki was in Esan Land for almost a week, and they were busy begging him to make a pronouncement to that effect, which is to say that Obaseki will hand over to some person if he has the wherewithal, which of course he doesn't have. He never did, because he knows that that does not exist. So we have gone beyond that. It is too late in the day to make that kind of assumption, pretending to say you want to make that, to make Ishan people think that they will be with you. They have come to the realization that that was scam of the highest order. It is not in your agenda, and it's not in anybody's agenda. And it's of common knowledge today in Esan Land that Esan Land has been sold by some people to naira, dollar, value equivalent in the last 3 months or thereabout. So that concept no longer exists. And I can assure you, Sheung, that we are upbeat, we are prepared for the election, and we have the people on ground. He just said he's been in Benin for the past 2 months. I have been in Ishan for the past 4 months. And the Esan people is talking about is Esan Land. I've been in Ishan for the past 4 months, campaigning. And I know, I've gone around the entire Senatorial District. Like if you bother to know, I'm the Director General of Edo Central Senatorial District for Pastor Osaje Izoyamu's
Does President Klein favor the Asian people?
Favor the people in what sense?
The candidacy
Absolutely. That's the point I'm making. That is the point I'm making, that the candidate of APC stands a very, very good chance than ever in clearing the vote in Esan Land, because of the fact that people like us, like you already said, I have contested elections on 2 occasions. And with me, he will attest to that without being immodest. I have never lost any election. And we have what it takes to get our people on board. And everywhere we have gone to, it has been, glorious song. That with you, we are well pleased. And Pastor Ezeyamu, who is the candidate of APC, has shown what we call political sagacity of some sort, and overwhelming evidence everywhere to show that this is a man that has the capacity and the wherewithal to take over the affairs of this state come September 19th, which is just a few days from now.
Yeah, in the next couple of minutes, we look at some of the issues. Good. Why the people of Edo State will go and vote. The reasons why they need to go and vote. The economy and on the issue of security. But before then, let me get reactions on perhaps one thing that the leader of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the former governor of Lagos State, said. He said, do not, in his own words, do not vote for Governor Obaseki because he's not a Democrat. What does that mean for your party, the PDP? And do you think that has any weight for the people of Edo State?
Going forward, Saturday will be a referendum against the Godfathers. Edo is not Lagos. Ahmed Bola Tinubu will be beaten, Oshomole will be beaten. This is the final gathering of the good people of Edo State versus the very few Godfathers. The battle between the people and the Godfathers, the good and the bad, light and darkness, those who have looted the treasury of Nigeria from Lagos to Edo State over the years. Edo people were willing and ready to defeat the Godfather. This is a final onslaught. This is freedom and liberation. If you walk through the streets of Edo State, this vote for Saturday is a self-determination of the voters.
Because when Bola Tinubu said, don't vote Godwin Obaseki, he's not a Democrat, he's not one of us, he's a dictator.
Oh my God.
How do you react to that?
It's laughable. Tinubu must know that we are now in 1999. I listened to Oshomole. All the tricks have failed. They are now gasping for breath. I can tell you that by Saturday, it will be over for the Godfathers. We must.
Who are the Godfathers?
Of course, leading the charge is Tinubu. Tinubu knows that he will be defeated. All their tricks are over. Shomole kneeling down, begging everybody. We've made up our mind now that for APC, it is finished. Now, for PDP, Obaseki represents a new generation, a performing governor. Okay, Cheon, quickly. Oshomole had 2 tenure. Lucky Benediction had 2 tenure. Why will Obaseki not have 2 tenure? Look at the mass quickly. Ishan will go one way for Obaseki. He's the one hallucinating.
All right.
He flew our ticket. Under PDP, Patrick went to the House of Assembly, National Assembly.
All right, we need to take a breather.
So if,
Just
yes,
a moment.
If there's anybody
Just a moment, Mr.
Patrick,
just a moment. We'll find out, because as far as I know, these two men are talking to me. We don't know who is hallucinating. But these are the language of politicians. So we'll take a break, but when we come back,
wait a minute.
no, we need to take a break.
Okay, that's fine.
I will get your reaction
fair
to
enough,
what he said.
Yeah, that's true.
And when we come back, more on these issues ahead of Saturday. It's getting interesting and hotter in this studio right here, everyone. We'll be right back.
No kind of arms by persons, groups, or outfits by whatever name will be allowed. We want to sound a note of warning to would-be miscreants and other political thugs who might be holding clandestine or nocturnal meetings to foment trouble with the motive to disrupt the election and scuttle the democratic process, to desist from such acts in their own interest. As the arm of the law, we certainly catch up with them.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here from our Benin City studio in Edo State, where we're monitoring for you the Saturday election. There are so many activities, and the politicians are talking tough. Between today and tomorrow, that's the only day, 2 days left for the politicians to campaign and to sell themselves to the voters. So we're talking about the opportunities, the chances, and the reasons why voters should go out on Saturday to vote for any of these candidates. Well, members of the APC and the PDP are talking tonight to me, Honorable Patrick Ekariale, apologies, Honorable Patrick Ekariale, a chieftain of the APC. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you once
again. And Mr. Kenneth Imaswagbo, a governorship aspirant in the PDP. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight. Let me, just in 30 seconds, if you may land on your thought, I'll allow Honorable Kariale to react to you, what you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying, look, we've made up our mind. The DJ is here. Oshomole and the Godfather from Lagos will be defeated. He is the one dreaming, daydreaming. He represented us under the umbrella. But because he's a cheap-minded human being, he left for APC. Well, I don't want to join wars with my brother Ekariale anyway, because Saturday will be here. If the election is free and fair, we will win APC 80-20. Ekariale knows that. Can he go home and ask our people to wait for another 8 years before we take our turn after 41 years? Ekariale, I mean, can you go home and tell your people that?
Well, if you are now the moderator, let me take you on from this point of view.
Yes, please do.
First and foremost, if you say that I'm the one that dreaming, I said you're hallucinating, and heaven knows and everybody knows that you are not better than a dog that goes back to his vomit. It is true that I represented the people of my constituency under the platform of PDP years ago, and that doesn't mean anything to me today, and the facts are clear, you know that. So if anybody has to be taken in that light, you are the one that goes back to your vomit like the dog does. You know too well that you have contested the IPC on several occasions, and with maximum defeat, you go back and forth. I will not be surprised if you come back to us in the next, after the election. But having said that, let me address the issue of what the very respected national leader of the party, Ahmed Tinubu, said about Governor Obaseki not being a Democrat. There's no better way to put it than that, indeed. He's not a Democrat, and I can tell you this from empirical analysis. What is the beginning of the issues? Obaseki represents that, what Shakespeare said, it is safer to be that which you destroy than by destruction you dwell in a doubtful joy. Obaseki has shown that in every sense of the word, he's not a Democrat. History will not forgive him for the role he played in the primaries of October 2019 elections. It's on record that Obaseki, in a Gestapo manner, never allowed primaries. I was the victim of that exercise. Everybody in my senatorial district, he knows it, insisted, this is the candidate of our choice. He never allowed for 1 week. He did is, in fact, the funny thing is that he tried to play victim, whereas he's the villain. He's highly dictatorial. He's a fascist. Unfortunately, he finds himself in a regime that is supposed to be a constitutional democracy. This is exactly what the national leader of the party did say, that he has no place in a constitutional democracy because he has never had acted, he has never believed, he has never said anything that will show that he is a person that can be trusted with democratic value. He does not have that the tendencies, the tenets are not there. He's just somebody that behaves like a bull in a China shop, that's highly undemocratic. We are here to say that that statement that is not a Democrat is very apt. There's no better way to describe it. This is democracy.
I will not be surprised.
The election of 19th of September, there's election of 19th of September is a democratic process. So it should be left for Democrats to decide who their candidate is. Hey, there are rules of engagement.
Yes, of course, I have the right.
I said there are rules of engagement. You don't have the right of reply until you have it.
No report, I give you.
You don't have it until you have it.
Just a moment. Let me allow you to land on that.
We should be very civil here.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
It's representing what the PDP he belongs to. That is the attitude they exhibit everywhere. We are in the studio here. You had your
just a moment, Mr. Master.
You just conduct yourself in a way.
You use the word you are a dog. You use the word dog.
No, I don't like gentlemen. You are the dog that goes back to vomit.
You are a dog because you don't have the looters. You know,
you are telling me that I cannot go to Israel.
You cannot live in Opoji.
Have you slept your village last time?
Opoji, where you are from, are there no guns now in your bedroom?
In the last 12 years,
are there no guns?
Let the
police go and search your house in Opoji. We have security reports about you.
About who?
About you, Patrick. But the mayhem you want to unleash on Isha people.
Don't you forget, you are on the national television.
Sure, in Opoji, we have reports of what you and few others in Opoji.
That is
what you are planning against Isha people.
That is synonymous with you.
That
is synonymous
you must be the dog.
People know.
You are the dog.
Between you and me, Kenny Masagbo,
you are the dog.
You are the terrorist of our time.
You are the dog. You are not even a dog.
Your village.
We will defeat you and Tinubu and Osomole.
Just a moment, gentlemen.
I'm sorry that you have degenerated so low.
Mr. Master,
if you go low,
gentlemen, can we gentlemen, can we calm down? Can we calm down? Gentlemen, just a moment. Gentlemen, can we calm down? Can we calm down? Just a moment. Just a moment. Hold on, gentlemen. We'll take a break. Let's take a break. When we come back, we hope that the temperature will have simmered. We'll be right back, everyone.
The NPC is in Edo today to support this process, not just for the signing of the peace accord by all candidates, but also to encourage you all to accept the outcome of the elections, no matter the result. At this junction, let me thank His Royal Majesty for the role he played when the tension was at its peak. I congratulate His Royal Majesty and all those participants who abided by his call to bring peace to Edo State. Your Excellencies, the participants and contestants, by agreeing to sign this covenant of peace, all of you, and I mean all of you, are committing yourselves to ensure an enduring peace in Nigeria and Edo State before, during, and after the elections, and agreeing to look beyond short-term electoral gain, sectorial interest, or narrow party advantage, and accepting to focus on nothing but the upward development of Edo State.
Everyone for staying with us there. The atmosphere and the temperature in this room is being one that became very unbearable at some point. But, well, in politics, brothers can even disagree. That's what we saw earlier on. But let's round up the conversation now tonight. And let me ask the two gentlemen in just about 30 seconds each, what would you say is the one thing that should make Edo voters vote for your candidate? Perhaps I should start with you, Mr. Emaswagbo.
Well, Saturday is a day where Edo people will have to decide between a man who has stood on the side of the people. Obaseki is on the side of the people. He has said, no, I'm not going to give Edo State money to looters. I would rather do roads, a performing governor who has worked very well. He has built school. He's got Edo Best. He's built hospitals. He's been able to pay pensioners as I told you. He's been able to help agricultural system. Saturday, fellow Edo people, I appeal to you, to your conscience. These people, they don't waka come again. Don't allow them to deceive you. Vote Obaseki because Obaseki will guarantee your future.
Yeah.
You, the son of a shoe shiner. You, the son of a Gary seller.
All right, Mr. Obaseki. Thank you so much. Honorable Kariale, why do you think people should vote for your candidate?
Clearly, my candidate has come up with a very clear, simple, what you call simple agenda that is of common knowledge to everybody today. And I'm happy to say that with this simple agenda, Edo people know that their fate and their destiny will be better off than what we have at the moment. Like you just mentioned, there's no school anywhere that has been built in the last 4 years. No hospital has been built in the last 4 years. No roads have been built in the last 4 years by the Edo State government. No teachers have been employed since this regime came into existence. And the so-called Edo Best is the greatest sham that we can ever think of. Because you cannot have Edo Best in terms of school where you have buildings without teachers. And the world has been told that our children are now into e-learning. There is no form of e-learning in Edo State. It's the greatest sham. It's a deceit. And we are saying our people have come to the realization that it was an error to have voted this person, and our candidate is coming with the simple agenda. He will provide all the necessities as much as possible to the Edo people. And that is why we are happy that the Edo people are with us. By Saturday, Saturday, we'll get the best out of the people.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Honorable Patrick Kariale, chieftain of the APC, and Mr. Kenneth Emaswagbo. Interestingly, two Asian men who have disagreed on different party lines. But tonight, I'd like you to, at the end of the show, to shake hands and, resolve the differences we had on this show. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.